This is a hand compass, so we're going to go over what each of these parts is and how to use them. So the little needle in the middle is called the needle, and it points towards magnetic north. The red point has a little magnet on it, and it'll face towards magnetic north. The part on the outside with all the numbers is called the bezel, and it spins and it can tell you where you are. So the little needle is spinning in the would look like it was spinning, but if you were looking at it from a stationary point of view, it would look like it was still pointing towards the same spot. So if you hold the compass flat, it won't catch on any surfaces and it'll flow freely towards it. Like say you wanted to face towards 0 degrees north or north, you put north on that little point, and then you put the red part of the needle in that little red thing there. Now if you wanted to face towards east, there's that little tiny arrow at the very top of the compass that you see me trying to put east perfectly on. Now that it's there, you're going to want to move yourself with the compass flat to put red in that little area. That little red area. We call that little red area the shed, so it's easy to remember, put red in the shed, and that's how you're going to determine where you're looking at. And that determines, so that's 90 degrees east, and that's what it would be if I was to do that. Now if I wanted to get to 262 degrees, or 162 degrees, you would put 162 there, and then you would move yourself to put red in the shed instead of moving the bezel to put red in the shed. So that's pretty simple. That gets you to 162 degrees southeast, and that's if you were required to find that location. Now we're going to use it to determine the bearing of these flags. We're going to start with this blue flag. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand in the middle of this little area that we have set up, and we're going to point our compass directly towards, and you're going to get that little line. You can use the little line on the little mirror there to get you pretty lined up with that. You want to get it as close as possible. And now you're going to do what we weren't doing before, and we're going to move the bezel to put red in the shed. So it's hard to do with one hand, but as you can see, once we move red to put that in the shed, we're still facing, well, we should be. I think our phone might have a little magnet in it or whatever, so it's messing up our needle a little bit, but that's okay. You make sure not to have magnets near this when you're doing it, but since we're facing that little guy there, and we're directly on, we're able to see that. So now we look at the very top of the little arrow thing. As you can see, if you move the compass up or down, sometimes it'll move, so you want to make sure it's flat. But we're at about 202 degrees, and that just demonstrates where that's located, and now we're going to try that again on this blue one facing this way. So we're going to get the compass nice and lined up, and then we're going to move the bezel to put red in the shed. You want to hold it flat and use two hands. It's a lot easier. Once you get it, you can look at where it's pointing, or the number that the arrow at the very top is pointing to, which is 290 degrees, which means, or 288 degrees, I guess, that's the azimuth direction of that flag. We're going to do the last one, and the azimuth direction is just the number or the degree on a flat circle. So now you're going to see me doing it with the flag in sight. It's the same concept. It's the same everywhere. And you're going to use this in a contest, in an FFA contest, or in any type of contest with a compass. You're going to determine the bearing or the azimuth direction or the azimuth degree of a place, and then you're going to determine how far away it is, and that's going to let you, if you're in the forestry field, that would let you determine where trees are from a specific location. Now we're going to figure out how far away these flags are, so we're going to use a thing called paces. A pace is every other step. So that was one pace, that's one pace, that's a 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 pace, and that's half a pace. So a pace is just your normal walking step. So we're just going to be walking just like that. Pretty simple. Um, if you don't know your pace length, then get a 100-foot tape measure or 50-foot tape measure or anything and just walk it back and forth. And then take the amount of times it took you to pace it off and then divide it by 100. So I have a 5.5-foot pace, so I'm able to use that to determine how far away I am from things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 7 paces. 7 times 5.5 is like, oh man, I have to do the math on that one, but that's how you determine how far away it is. So let's just figure that out real quick. 7 times 5.5, 38.5 feet. So I'm 38.5 feet away from that one in the middle. I guess it actually wasn't as hard as I thought. I was just pretty dumb. Then you can always walk back to make sure, like I just did there. So that just makes sure you got it right. And now we're going to do it on this final one. So 1 pace, 2 pace, 3 pace, 4 pace. So there's 5 paces there. So 5 times 5.5 is about 27.5. So you can double check, of course, and all this crappy ground is not too fun to walk on, but that's the concept there. Sweet. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you.